The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning. Radio telescopes across Earth picked up the signal simultaneously. It was not the friendly greeting humanity had hoped would be their first alien contact. The message was clear and threatening. Surrender or die. Humanity had 30 days to decide. In an emergency meeting at the United Nations, world leaders gathered to face this unprecedented threat. Admiral George Patterson stood before them, his face grim as satellite images displayed. On the screen behind him, the alien fleet had been detected just beyond Mars, their ships massive and numerous. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are outmatched in every way," Admiral Patterson said, "but we are not without hope." He pressed a button on his remote, and the image changed to show a sleek, dark vessel unlike any Earth ship ever built. This is the USS Fearless. For 20 years, we've been reverse engineering technology from a crashed alien scout ship found in Arizona. This prototype battleship represents our best chance at survival. The room erupted in questions and concerns. How could one ship stand against an alien armada? Was it even tested? Who would crew such a vessel? In a military base beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain Ethan Ward walked through the gleaming corridors of the Fearless. At 42, he had more combat experience than any other naval officer. His weathered face and calm blue eyes reflected both wisdom and determination. The assignment had come as a surprise, but he understood the desperate nature of their situation. "Captain on deck," called Commander Olivia Martinez as Ward entered the bridge. The crew stood at attention. Martinez was 35, with short black hair and a serious expression. She had been working on the Fearless project for 5 years, and knew the ship better than anyone except perhaps its chief engineer. "At ease," Ward said, looking around at the faces of his crew. They were the best Earth had to offer, hastily brought together for humanity's most important mission. "I know we haven't had much time to train together, but time is the one luxury we don't have." Dr. Alan Murphy approached, tablet in hand. The engineer was in his 50s, with graying hair and tired eyes that had seen too many late nights working on alien technology. "Captain, I need to discuss the drive systems with you. We've made progress, but there are still significant unknowns." "How significant?" Ward asked. Murphy lowered his voice. "The power core is stable, but we're pushing the boundaries of physics as we understand it. Some systems might behave unpredictably under stress." Ward nodded. "Do what you can, Doctor. We launch in 48 hours. Lieutenant Sam Wright, the tactical officer, was running simulations at his station. At 28, he was the youngest senior officer, but his genius with weapon systems had earned him the position. "Captain, I've been analyzing what little we know of their tech. Their shields operate on a frequency pattern. If we can identify it, we might find a weakness." "Good work, Lieutenant." "Keep on it," Ward said, then turned to the communications station where Diane Foster sat. She was 30, with auburn hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. "Any new transmissions from our visitors?" "Nothing new, sir," Foster replied. "But I'm detecting increased communications between their vessels. They're preparing for something." The navigation officer, Frank Jones, a steady man of 37, with dark skin and calm demeanor, looked up from his console. "Captain, I've plotted several approach vectors that might give us a tactical advantage. Using Jupiter's moons for cover could allow us to observe without being detected." Ward studied the proposed routes. "Good thinking, Jones. We'll need every advantage we can get." The next day, the final preparations accelerated. The Fearless was designed to accommodate a crew of 100, but they were launching with only 75. Every person aboard was a specialist, many having worked on the project for years. In the mess hall, Ward found Martinez staring at a photograph of her family. "Commander, a word?" She quickly put the photo away. "Yes, Captain?" "I need to know your honest assessment of our chances," Ward said quietly. Martinez hesitated. "The Fearless is the most advanced ship humans have ever built, but it's untested in combat, with systems we barely understand, against an enemy with unknown capabilities." She met his eyes. "That said, I believe in this crew, and sometimes the unexpected challenger has the advantage of surprise." Ward nodded. Well put, Commander, and I agree. He looked around at the busy crew. Make sure everyone gets some rest tonight. Tomorrow we make history one way or another. That night, few aboard the Fearless actually slept. Murphy and his engineering team worked frantically to stabilize the power fluctuations in the main drive. Wright fine-tuned the targeting systems. Foster analyzed every scrap of alien communication for useful intelligence. At 0500 hours, Admiral Patterson arrived for a final inspection. He and Ward walked the length of the ship in silence before stopping. At the observation deck, "The President wanted me to wish you good hunting," Patterson said finally. "But between us, Ethan, just come back alive if you can. This ship represents the best of humanity. Show them what that means." "We will, sir," Ward promised. At 0700, the massive underwater doors opened above the Fearless. The water drained from the launch bay as the ship's systems came fully online. On the bridge, Ward took his captain's chair. "All stations report," he ordered. "Engineering ready. All systems nominal," Murphy reported, though the slight tremor in his voice betrayed his concern. "Weapon systems online," Wright confirmed. "Communications ready," Foster added. "Navigation set for Jupiter approach vector," Jones said. "Life support and medical bay prepared," reported Dr. Linda Hoffman, the ship's chief medical officer. Ward took a deep breath. "Commander Martinez, is this ship ready to defend Earth?" Martinez stood straight, her voice firm. "The Fearless is ready, Captain." "Then let's show these Keldorians what humanity is made of. Mr. Jones, take us up." The Fearless rose from the ocean with surprising grace for its size. Water cascaded from its dark hull as it accelerated upward. People on nearby coastlines pointed skyward as the massive vessel broke through the clouds and continued its ascent. In orbit, the Fearless paused briefly. The Earth looked peaceful from this height, blue and green and wrapped in white clouds. For many aboard, it was their first view of their home planet from space and perhaps their last. "All hands secure for faster-than-light travel," Ward announced. "Dr. Murphy, activate the experimental drive." Murphy hesitated for just a moment before entering the sequence. Experimental drive engaging in 3, 2, 1. The stars seemed to stretch and blur around them. The ship shuddered and warning lights flashed across several consoles. Murphy worked frantically to stabilize the systems. "Status report," Ward called over the rumbling of the ship. "Drive is operating at 87% efficiency," Murphy replied. "Some power fluctuations, but within acceptable parameters. We're on course." As the Fearless pushed beyond Earth's solar system, heading for the concealment of Jupiter and its moons, the mood on the bridge was tense but focused. Every person aboard understood the stakes. They were 75 humans in an experimental ship, about to face an empire that spanned hundreds of star systems. Their mission was simple, yet seemingly impossible. Buy Earth time, find a weakness in the Keldorian forces, and somehow, against all odds, secure humanity's survival. The Fearless pushed onward through space, living up to its name. Earth's first and last line of defense. Humanity's only hope. The Fearless reached Jupiter's orbit after 3 days of tense travel. The massive gas giant provided perfect cover for the Earth vessel as Captain Ward ordered their approach toward Europa, one of Jupiter's largest moons. The ice-covered satellite would help mask their energy signature from Keldorian scanners. "Position us in Europa's shadow," Ward instructed Frank Jones at navigation. "We need to remain undetected as long as possible." Jones guided the ship with practiced precision. "Entering. Shadow zone now, Captain. Minimal thruster used to maintain position." On the main view screen, the Keldorian advance fleet was visible as they established positions around Mars. Their vessels were elegant but intimidating, with curved hulls that glowed with a faint purple energy. The largest ship was nearly 5 times the size of the Fearless. 17 vessels detected, reported Lieutenant Wright from Tactical. Configuration suggests 13 warships, 3 carriers, and what appears to be a command vessel. Dr. Murphy studied the energy readings from engineering. "Their power output is remarkable. Those ships could probably reduce Earth to ash in hours." "Then we better make sure that doesn't happen," Ward said firmly. He turned to Communications Officer Foster. Any transmissions we can intercept? Foster adjusted settings on her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. Yes, Captain, their communications aren't encrypted. I think they don't consider us advanced enough to be listening. Her fingers flew over the controls. Translating now. The bridge speakers crackled with alien voices, harsh and clicking. Foster's translation software converted them to English with only a slight delay. They're discussing the establishment of a forward base on Mars, Foster explained. The command vessel is named Dominion, under the control of someone called Supreme Commander Greg Thal. They plan to begin the Earth assault in 22 hours. Ward leaned forward in his chair. Sooner than we expected. Opinions? Commander. Martinez stepped closer to the tactical display. They're spreading their forces thin, Captain. Overconfidence. They don't expect resistance. Can we exploit that? Ward asked. Wright pointed to a smaller vessel that had separated from the main fleet. This scout ship is performing a standard patrol route. It's coming within range of our position in approximately 40 minutes. If we maintain our current hiding spot, it will pass within striking distance. Ward considered this information. Dr. Murphy, what's the status of our experimental cloaking system? Murphy frowned. It's operational but untested in actual combat conditions. It masks our energy signature and should bend light around the hull, but I can't guarantee it won't fail under stress. Understood. Activate it anyway, Ward ordered. We need to observe this patrol vessel up close. The cloaking system engaged with a low hum throughout the ship. The lights dimmed briefly as power redirected to the alien-derived technology. Cloak stable, Murphy reported. Power drain is within acceptable parameters. Ward turned to his executive officer. Commander Martinez, prepare a combat team. If we can disable that scout without destroying it, we might be able to gather valuable intelligence, Martinez nodded. I'll assemble the team. For the next 30 minutes, the Fearless maintained position, hidden in Europa's shadow and wrapped in its experimental cloak. The Keldorian scout ship continued its patrol route, unaware of the human vessel tracking its movements. Scout ship, approaching optimal intercept point, Jones announced. All hands to battle stations, Ward commanded. Silent running protocols. Throughout the ship, crew members moved with quiet efficiency. In the weapons bay, missile tubes were loaded and laser arrays charged. In engineering, Murphy and his team monitored the untested systems for any sign of failure. Distance to target. 20,000 kilometers in closing, Wright reported. Maintain cloak, Ward ordered. Let them pass by, then we'll swing around. Behind them. The alien vessel grew larger on the view screen. Up close, its design was even more impressive, with seamless construction that suggested advanced manufacturing capabilities far beyond Earth technology. Interesting, Foster said suddenly. Captain, I'm detecting an active scan from the scout ship. They're searching this area specifically. Ward frowned. Have they detected us? I don't think so, Foster replied. But something has made them suspicious. As if confirming her assessment, the scout ship slowed its approach and altered course slightly, moving directly toward their position. They're using some kind of advanced detection system, Murphy warned. Our cloak is functioning, but they might be sensing the gravitational displacement of our mass. Ward made a quick decision. Change of plans. If they're going to find us anyway, we take the initiative. Mr. Wright, target their propulsion and communication systems only. We want that ship disabled, not destroyed. Targeting solutions ready, Captain, Wright confirmed. On my mark, Ward said, watching the alien vessel grow closer. 3, 2, 1. Disengage cloak and fire. The Fearless shimmered into visibility as the cloaking field collapsed. Before the Keldorian vessel could react, 2 precisely aimed energy beams lanced out from the human ship, striking the alien craft's engine section and communication array. The effect was immediate. The scout ship's purple glow flickered and dimmed as it tumbled sideways from the impact. Direct hits on both targets, Wright reported. Their main power is fluctuating and their communications are down. They're sending an emergency signal on a secondary channel, Foster warned. How long before the main fleet responds? Ward asked. At this distance, at least 15 minutes, Foster replied. Then we have 14 minutes to act. Commander Martinez, deploy your boarding team. Mr. Jones, bring us alongside that vessel. The Fearless moved quickly to the disabled Keldorian ship. Martinez led a team of 6 security personnel, all wearing experimental space armor developed from the same alien technology as the ship itself. Boarding party away, Martinez reported through her helmet comm. Approaching alien vessel now. On the bridge, Ward and the remaining crew watched the feed from the boarding team's helmet cameras. The interior of the Keldorian ship was surprisingly bright, with corridors lined with what appeared to be living material that pulsed with light. Atmosphere is breathable, Martinez reported. Gravity slightly higher than Earth standard. We have movement ahead. The camera showed 3 Keldorians. They were tall, with gray-blue skin and 4 arms. Their faces featured multiple eyes arranged in a circular pattern around a central mouth. 2 of them were clearly injured from the impact of the attack. They're armed, Martinez warned as the aliens raised devices that resembled weapons. What followed was a brief but intense firefight. The human boarding team's weapons proved effective against the Keldorians, who seemed surprised by the resistance. Within minutes, the alien crew was subdued, with 2 stunned and 1 conscious but restrained. Ship secured, Captain, Martinez reported. 3 prisoners, 1 conscious, and we have access to their computer systems. Excellent work, Ward replied. Download everything you can and prepare to return. We have approximately 9 minutes before their friends arrive. Foster joined Murphy at a secondary console, linking to the data being transmitted from the Keldorian vessel. Captain, this is incredible. Their database contains detailed information about the Empire's structure, tactics, and even weaknesses. Murphy nodded in agreement. Their technology is advanced but surprisingly rigid in application. They don't adapt well to unexpected situations. Bring that conscious Keldorian back with you, Ward instructed Martinez. We need to learn everything. We can. 7 minutes later, the boarding team returned with their alien prisoner and the downloaded data. The Fearless disengaged from the disabled scout ship and moved quickly back into Europa's shadow, reactivating its cloak. Just as Foster had predicted, 3 larger Keldorian vessels arrived 14 minutes after the initial attack. They surrounded their disabled comrade, clearly confused by what had happened. They're scanning the area thoroughly, Foster reported, monitoring their communications. They seem surprised. I don't think they expected any resistance, especially not something that could disable one of their ships. In the ship's secure holding area, the captured Keldorian was identified as Subcommander Zekthar through the translation of insignia on its uniform. The alien regarded the humans with what appeared to be a mixture of shock and contempt. Your primitive species dares to attack the glorious Keldorian Empire? Zekthar said through Foster's translation program. Emperor Vaxmore will reduce your world to ash for this insult. Ward studied the alien carefully. Your empire has made a serious miscalculation, Subcommander. Humans don't surrender easily. As the Fearless maintained its hidden position, the crew began analyzing the captured data. What they discovered gave them their first glimmer of hope. The Keldorian Empire, for all its technological might, had a fatal flaw. An absolute hierarchy that stifled innovation and adaptation. This could be the advantage we need, Ward told his officers as they gathered in the briefing room. They expect us to behave according to their understanding of lesser species. We need to be unpredictable. The first battle had been won, a small victory but significant. As news of the Fearless's success was transmitted back to Earth, a sense of hope began to spread. Humanity had proven it could fight back. Captain Ward studied the star chart displayed on the main screen of the Fearless bridge. 3 days had passed since their successful ambush of the Keldorian scout ship. The information extracted from the captured vessel had revealed something unexpected. The Keldorian Empire was vast but not unbeatable. Many star systems under their control were recent conquests, their native species now forced to serve their new masters. We need allies, Ward announced to his senior officers gathered in the briefing room. Earth cannot stand alone against the Empire, but perhaps we don't have to. Commander Martinez pointed to a star system not far from their current position. According to the Keldorian data, the Proxima Centauri system was conquered just 2 years ago. The native species, called the Novel, had space travel technology before the invasion. Foster, who had been studying the communications logs, nodded in agreement. The Novel put up significant resistance. The Keldorians consider them troublesome but valuable servants due to their technical abilities. Could they be potential allies? Ward asked. Murphy examined the technical specifications. The Keldorian database includes details on Novel technology. They were working on an energy weapon designed to penetrate Keldorian shields before they were conquered. It was never completed. Ward made his decision. Then we go to Proxima Centauri. If we can make contact with the Novel resistance, we might find the help we need. The captured Keldorian, Sub-Commander Zekthar, had been surprisingly forthcoming after several days in custody. Whether out of arrogance or a desire to impress the humans with the futility of their resistance, he had explained much about the Empire's structure and methods. Your experimental drive should be capable of reaching Proxima Centauri in approximately 18 hours, Murphy reported. But I must warn you, Captain, each jump puts strain on systems we don't fully understand. Noted, Doctor. But we don't have many options, Ward replied. Mr. Jones, plot a course for Proxima Centauri. Dr. Murphy, prepare the drive for faster-than-light travel. The Fearless disengaged from its hiding place in Europa's shadow and moved to a safe distance for the jump. The experimental drive, based on alien technology never meant for human use, hummed with growing power. Drive at full capacity, Murphy reported from engineering. Ready on your command. Execute jump, Ward ordered. The stars blurred around them as the Fearless entered faster-than-light travel. The ship shuddered more violently than during their first jump, causing several minor systems to overload. Emergency lights flashed in engineering as Murphy and his team worked frantically to stabilize the drive. Power fluctuations exceeding safe parameters, Murphy warned over the comm. We need to reduce speed or risk a core breach. Do what you need to do, Doctor, Ward replied, but get us to Proxima Centauri in one piece. The journey took 23 hours instead of the projected 18, but eventually, the Fearless dropped back into normal space near Proxima Centauri b, the habitable planet in the system. The ship's sensors immediately detected Keldorian vessels in orbit and a significant military presence on the surface. Cloak engaged, Ward ordered. Let's not announce our arrival. From their hidden position, the crew observed the planet below. Once a thriving world with advanced cities and technology, Proxima Centauri b now showed clear signs of occupation. Keldorian structures dominated the major population centers, and massive mining operations scarred the surface. I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from this region, Wright reported, highlighting an area on the southern continent. It doesn't match known Keldorian patterns. Could be novel technology. Foster, can you pick up any non-Keldorian communications? Ward asked. After several minutes of scanning, Foster nodded. Yes, Captain. There's a low-power transmission using an unusual encryption method. It doesn't match Keldorian protocols. The Resistance, Martinez suggested. Ward considered their options. We need to make contact without alerting the Keldorians to our presence. Commander Martinez, prepare a small team for a covert insertion. You'll take our shuttle under cloak to the source of those transmissions. While Martinez prepared her team, Murphy approached the captain with a concerned expression. The shuttle's cloak is even less stable than our main system. They'll be at significant risk. I'm aware of the risks, Doctor, Ward replied. But we need allies, and right now the Novel are our best hope. 4 hours later, Martinez led a team including Wright and Foster to the shuttle bay. The small craft was designed for stealth, its hull incorporating the same experimental technology as the Fearless itself. Maintain radio silence unless absolutely necessary, Ward instructed them. Your primary objective is to establish contact with the Novel resistance. If discovered by Keldorian forces, return immediately. This is a reconnaissance mission, not a combat operation. Martinez nodded. Understood, Captain. We'll be back within 12 hours. The shuttle departed the Fearless, its cloak engaged. It descended through the atmosphere of Proxima Centauri b, heading toward the source of the mysterious transmissions. From the bridge, Ward watched their progress on the tactical display, a knot of tension forming in his stomach. If the Keldorians discovered the shuttle, his officers would have little chance of escape. Hours passed with no communication from the away team. Ward maintained his position on the bridge, refusing offers to rest. Murphy joined him, running continuous diagnostics on the ship's systems while they waited. "The drive sustained more damage than I initially thought," Murphy admitted. "We'll need to make repairs before attempting another jump." "Can we do it here?" Ward asked. Murphy hesitated. "Some repairs, yes. But we'll need resources we don't have for a complete overhaul." Just as Ward was about to respond, Foster's voice came through the comm system. "Fearless, this is away team. We have made contact, requesting permission to bring 3 representatives aboard." Relief washed over Ward's face. "Permission granted. Use all stealth protocols for your return." 2 hours later, the shuttle returned to the Fearless carrying Martinez, Wright, Foster, and 3 aliens. The Novel were humanoid, but clearly not human. They stood about 7 feet tall with slender bodies, pale blue skin, and large almond-shaped eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. They moved with fluid grace that suggested comfort in both land and water environments. "Captain Ward, may I present Elan, Sora, and Vex," Martinez said. "Leaders of the Novel resistance against Keldorian occupation." The tallest Novel, Elan, stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice had a musical quality that the translation program rendered into slightly stilted English. "We did not believe it when your officers told us that another species had successfully engaged the Keldorians in battle. Many have tried. All have failed. We've had one small victory," Ward acknowledged, "but we're looking for a way to save our world from conquest. Your people have been fighting the Keldorians longer than we have. We hoped you might help us." Sora, a female Novel, with intricate markings on her face that suggested high status, studied Ward carefully. "Why should we risk what remains of our people to help yours? The Keldorians are already here. They have already taken our world." Wright stepped forward. "Because together we might achieve what neither of us can do alone. Freedom." The third Novel, Vex, had remained silent until now. He carried what appeared to be a weapon of unusual design. "Before the invasion, I was lead engineer on a project to develop a weapon capable of penetrating Keldorian shields. We never completed it. But perhaps, with your help, we could." While Martinez showed the Novel representatives around the Fearless, Foster and Wright shared what they had learned on the planet's surface. The Novel resistance was small but determined, with hidden bases throughout the southern continent. They had been fighting a guerrilla war against their occupiers for 2 years, slowly gathering components to complete their shield-penetrating weapon. "They need certain rare materials to finish the weapon," Wright explained. "Materials the Keldorians control completely. And we need allies if we're going to have any chance against the Empire," Ward said. "I think we've found our first mission together." Later, in the ship's conference room, humans and Novel formalized their alliance. The plan was bold. The Fearless would help the Novel steal the materials they needed to complete their weapon. In return, the Novel would share their technology and join the fight against the Keldorian Empire. "Your arrival has given our people something we had begun to lose," Elan told Ward as they concluded their meeting. "Hope." As the Fearless prepared for its first joint operation with the Novel resistance, a message arrived from Earth. The Keldorian fleet had begun its approach. The deadline for humanity's surrender was approaching, and the Fearless was Earth's only hope. Ward gathered his crew and their new allies on the bridge. "We have less time than we thought, but now we're not fighting alone. The Keldorian Empire doesn't expect cooperation between conquered species. That will be their downfall." And so began an unlikely alliance that would grow to become the Empire's greatest nightmare. The Fearless, a single ship from a planet the Keldorians had dismissed as primitive, was about to teach them a painful lesson about underestimating humanity. The raid on the Keldorian mining facility was planned with precision. After 3 days of preparation, the Fearless positioned itself above Proxima Centauri b, its experimental cloak hiding it from the occupying forces below. In the shuttle bay, 2 teams prepared for the mission. Commander Martinez would lead the human contingent, while Elon commanded the novel fighters. Their objective was clear: acquire the rare minerals needed to complete the shield-penetrating weapon and return to the ship without detection. "Remember, stealth is our priority," Captain Ward told the assembled teams. "The Keldorians don't know we're here, and we need to keep it that way as long as possible." Lieutenant Wright checked his weapon one last time before boarding the shuttle. The device was a hybrid of human and novel technology, modified by Dr. Murphy to disrupt Keldorian neural systems without causing permanent damage. Foster had programmed a series of false communication signals designed to create confusion among the enemy guards. "The mining facility is minimally guarded," Elon explained, as the shuttle descended through the atmosphere. "The Keldorians do not expect resistance on a world they consider fully conquered." The shuttle landed in a dense forest 3 miles from the facility. The combined team moved silently through the undergrowth, guided by novel scouts who knew the terrain intimately. When they reached the perimeter, Foster activated her communication disruptor. The effect was immediate. The Keldorian guards began checking their equipment, distracted by the sudden loss of contact with their command center. "Now," Martinez whispered, signaling the team forward. They moved swiftly through the compound, neutralizing the confused guards with stun weapons. The Novel led them to a secure storage area where the processed minerals were kept. Vex, the Novel engineer, quickly identified the materials they needed. "These crystals are the key component," he explained as they filled their containers. "With these, we can complete the weapon and begin production immediately." Just as they finished loading the last container, alarms blared throughout the facility. A Keldorian patrol had discovered one of the unconscious guards. "Time to leave," Martinez ordered. "Back to the shuttle, double time." The retreat was not as orderly as their entry. Keldorian security forces converged on their position, forcing the team to split up and fight their way out. Wright proved his worth in the ensuing firefight, his tactical training allowing him to coordinate an effective defense while the others escaped with the precious cargo. "Wright, fall back now," Martinez commanded as she provided covering fire from the edge of the forest. "That's an order." Wright fired a final burst at the pursuing Keldorians before sprinting toward the trees. He was within meters of safety when a Keldorian energy blast caught him in the side. He stumbled but kept moving, the pain evident on his face as Martinez pulled him into cover. "How bad?" she asked, examining the wound as they moved toward the shuttle. "I'll live," Wright grimaced. "Did we get everything?" "Every crystal," Martinez confirmed. "The mission is a success." Back aboard the Fearless, Dr. Hoffman treated Wright's injury while Vex and the Novel engineers began working with Murphy to integrate the stolen minerals into their weapon design. Captain Ward received the report from Martinez with visible relief. "Well done, Commander. Any mission everyone returns from is a good mission in my book." He glanced toward the medical bay where Wright was recovering. "How's our tactical officer?" "He'll be back on his feet in a day or two," Martinez replied. "Dr. Hoffman says the Keldorian weapon cauterized the wound as it hit. Painful, but relatively clean." Ward nodded. "Good, because we're not done yet." He gestured to the main view screen where Foster had compiled information from multiple sources. "While you were on the surface, we intercepted communications from 3 other star systems. It seems news of our resistance is spreading." The screen showed data from worlds designated as Varix Prime, Lithera, and Kaldor III. All were recent conquests of the Keldorian Empire, and all had active resistance movements inspired by rumors of the Fearless and its victories. "The Varix are insectoid beings with advanced stealth technology," Foster explained. "The Litharians are a crystalline species with unique energy manipulation abilities. The Kaldorians are reptilian and have developed specialized weapons designed to work against Keldorian armor. You're suggesting we contact these resistance groups as well," Martinez said, understanding immediately. Ward smiled. "Not just contact them, unite them." For the next 2 weeks, the Fearless moved between star systems, making contact with each resistance movement and bringing their leaders together. What began as a desperate mission to save Earth was evolving into something much larger, a coalition against the Keldorian Empire. Each species contributed unique knowledge or technology. The Novel completed their shield-penetrating weapon and began production. The Variks improved the Fearless's cloaking system, making it more stable and effective. The Letharians enhanced the ship's power systems, reducing the strain on the experimental drive during faster-than-light jumps. The Kaldorians provided armor-piercing ammunition for the human weapons. As the coalition grew, so did the Kaldorian response. Emperor Vaxmir, once dismissive of the human threat, now saw the Fearless as a serious problem. He dispatched his elite guard, led by Grand Admiral Krevnar, with clear orders: find and destroy the human vessel before it could return to Earth. The Emperor is concerned. Zekthar, the captured Kaldorian subcommander, revealed during questioning. No species has ever united others against the Empire before. The concept of cooperation between conquered peoples is disturbing to the Imperial Court. That's because the Empire doesn't understand alliance, Ward replied. They only understand domination. With the modifications and improvements from their allies, the Fearless prepared for the journey back to Earth. The Kaldorian deadline had passed, and the invasion fleet was surely in position by now. They would be arriving in the middle of a war. The drive is operating at peak efficiency, Murphy reported. With the Letharian modifications, we should reach Earth in just over 3 days. And we won't be going alone, Martinez added. From the view screen, she indicated the small fleet of vessels now accompanying the Fearless. Ships from each allied species had volunteered to join the defense of Earth. Not a large force compared to the Kaldorian armada, but a powerful symbol nonetheless. Our allies understand that Earth's fight is their fight too, Foster said. If we can stop the Kaldorians at Earth, it proves the Empire isn't invincible. The journey back was tense but uneventful. The improved drive performed beyond expectations, and the Coalition fleet maintained perfect formation throughout the faster-than-light travel. As they approached the Sol system, however, the gravity of their situation became clear. Multiple Kaldorian signatures detected around Earth, Wright reported from his station, fully recovered from his injury. At least 30 capital ships and dozens of smaller vessels. They've established a blockade. The view screen showed Earth surrounded by Kaldorian warships. Several cities showed damage from orbital bombardment, but the planet had not yet been conquered. Earth's combined military forces had managed to hold off the initial assault, but they were clearly outmatched. We're receiving a transmission from Earth Defense Command, Foster announced. It's Admiral Patterson. The Admiral's face appeared on screen, showing signs of exhaustion and stress. Fearless, thank God you're back. We've been holding them off as best we can, but our defenses are failing. Tell me you found something that can help us. Ward gestured to the Allied ships visible behind the Fearless. We've brought friends, Admiral, and technology that can penetrate their shields. For the first time in weeks, Patterson smiled. Then, there's hope after all. More than hope, Ward replied. We have a plan. The Fearless and its allied fleet took position behind Earth's moon, hidden from Kaldorian sensors. There they prepared for what would surely be the most important battle in human history. The shield-penetrating weapons were distributed among Earth's remaining defense forces. The Allied ships were assigned strategic targets within the Kaldorian fleet, and at the center of it all was the Fearless, the ship that had started as Earth's last hope and had become the catalyst for an interstellar resistance. Captain Ward gathered his crew on the bridge for one final address before battle. When we left Earth, we were alone against an empire. Now we return with allies and a fighting chance. Whatever happens next, remember this. The Kaldorians thought they were invincible because they had never encountered humanity before. Today, they learned their mistake. As Earth's moon slowly rotated, revealing their position to the Kaldorian fleet, the Fearless powered up its weapons. The battle for humanity's homeworld was about to begin. The battle began without warning or declaration. As the Fearless and its allied fleet emerged from behind the moon, Captain Ward gave a single command. All ships, engage targets. The effect was immediate and devastating. The shield-penetrating weapons developed by the Novel cut through the Kaldorian defenses like they were not there. 3 enemy ships were disabled in the first volley alone. their crews unprepared for an attack that could bypass their supposedly impenetrable shields. "They're responding," Wright reported from Tactical. "Keldorian vessels breaking formation to engage." On the main view screen, the massive Keldorian command ship moved away from Earth's orbit, turning to face the new threat. It was an impressive vessel nearly 5 times the size of the Fearless, with weapons ports glowing an ominous purple as they charged. "That's Grand Admiral Krevnar's flagship, the Dominion," Foster said, monitoring enemy communications. "They're ordering all ships to focus fire on the Fearless specifically." Ward had anticipated this. "Exactly as we planned. Commander Martinez, signal our allies to proceed with Phase 2. While the Keldorians concentrated on the Fearless, the Allied ships split into smaller groups, each targeting specific enemy vessels. The insectoid Varric ships, nearly invisible to sensors thanks to their advanced stealth technology, slipped behind the Keldorian line and attacked their engines. The crystalline Letharian vessels absorbed enemy fire and redirected it back at the attackers with doubled intensity. The reptilian Keldorian ships used their specialized weapons to target weak points in the Keldorian armor. Meanwhile, Earth's remaining defense forces, now equipped with shield-penetrating technology, launched a coordinated counterattack from the surface. General Kate Phillips, commanding the ground forces, had timed her assault perfectly with the arrival of the Fearless. "Earth forces report successful engagement," Foster announced. "Keldorian ground troops are retreating to their transports. And we've got their fleet's attention," Wright added as the Fearless rocked from a direct hit. "Shield integrity at 70%. In engineering, Murphy worked frantically to maintain the ship's systems under the heavy assault. "Captain, we can't take sustained fire like this for long. The experimental systems are becoming unstable." "Understood, Doctor," Ward replied. "Mr. Jones, evasive pattern Delta. Keep us moving." The Fearless danced through space, its maneuverability surprising for a vessel its size. Jones's piloting skills kept them one step ahead of the majority of Keldorian fire, but not all of it. Another blast rocked the ship. "Shield integrity at 45%, Wright reported. "But we're hurting them too. Their formation is breaking down." Foster monitored the enemy communications with growing excitement. "Captain, they're confused. Their rigid command structure is failing under our unorthodox attack patterns. Grand Admiral Krevnar is trying to maintain control, but the fleet commanders aren't responding quickly enough." This was the weakness Zekthar had revealed. The Keldorian military, like the Empire itself, relied on absolute hierarchy and strict protocols. When faced with unpredictable tactics from multiple directions, their response slowed dramatically. "Time to press our advantage," Ward decided. "All ships, focus fire on the Dominion. Let's take out their command structure." The Allied fleet responded immediately, redirecting their attacks toward the massive flagship. The Keldorian vessel's shields flickered under the concentrated assault of shield-penetrating weapons. In response, Grand Admiral Krevnar ordered his fleet to form a protective barrier around the Dominion. It was a textbook Keldorian defense, but it left their flanks exposed to Earth's forces rising from the surface. "They're falling back," Wright observed, regrouping around their command ship. Ward saw their opportunity. "This is it. Dr. Murphy, we need maximum power to weapons. Give us everything you've got." "Captain, pushing the systems that hard could cause a cascade failure in the core," Murphy warned. "We might not be able to contain it." "Understood, but we may not get another chance," Ward replied. "Do it." Murphy hesitated only briefly before adjusting the power distribution. Warning lights flashed throughout engineering as energy surged through the ship's systems. "Weapons charged beyond recommended levels," Wright reported. "Ready to fire on your command." Ward looked at the Keldorian formation on the view screen, then at his crew. Each face showed determination despite the risks. Fire. The Fearless unleashed a barrage unlike anything seen before. The combined human and alien technology, pushed beyond its design limits, created a beam of energy that struck the Dominion with devastating force. The Keldorian flagship's shields collapsed entirely, and the beam continued through to strike the vessel itself. Secondary explosions blossomed across the Dominion's hull as critical systems failed. The massive ship began to list to one side, clearly disabled. "Direct hit," Wright exclaimed. "Their main power is offline." Before they could celebrate, Murphy's voice came urgently over the comm. "Captain, we have a problem. The power surge has damaged the containment field around the core. We're looking at a cascade failure within minutes." "Can you stop it?" Ward asked. "Negative. The system is too damaged. We need to evacuate the ship." Ward made the hardest decision of his career. "All hands abandon ship. Get to the escape pods and shuttles immediately." Throughout the Fearless, crew members moved with practiced efficiency toward evacuation points. Martinez coordinated the effort, ensuring no one was left behind. "What about you, Captain?" she asked, knowing Ward too well. "Someone needs to make sure the ship stays on course," he replied. "The Dominion is disabled but not destroyed. If we can position the Fearless correctly before the core breach, we can take out their command structure completely." "Then I'm staying." "Too," Martinez insisted. Ward shook his head. "No, Commander. Earth will need leaders who understand our new allies. That's you." From his station, Wright spoke up. "Captain, I can do it. My injuries from the mining facility never fully healed. Dr. Hoffman says I'm living on borrowed time anyway." Before Ward could protest, Murphy joined the conversation from engineering. "He's right, Captain. And he'll need help to manually override the navigation controls. I'll stay with him." Ward looked at his two officers, seeing the determination in their eyes. After a moment, he nodded. "Get everyone else off the ship, and make sure our allies know to pull back to a safe distance." As the evacuation proceeded, Wright and Murphy worked to set the Fearless on its final course. The damaged ship moved steadily toward the disabled Keldorian flagship, its failing systems barely responding to commands. From the shuttle carrying Ward, Martinez, Foster, and Jones away from the doomed vessel, they watched as the Fearless approached the Dominion. The core breach was visible now, energy spilling from the Earthship's engines in brilliant pulses. "Lieutenant Wright reports navigation locked," Foster said, monitoring the final communications. "The Fearless will impact in 30 seconds. Ward watched through the shuttle viewport, his expression solemn. "Send this message to all Allied ships. Pull back immediately. And to Wright and Murphy. Thank you." The Fearless, the ship that had started as humanity's last hope and become the symbol of interstellar resistance, collided with the Keldorian flagship just as its core finally breached. The resulting explosion engulfed both vessels in a sphere of pure energy that expanded outward, damaging nearby Keldorian ships, but leaving the retreating Allied fleet untouched. When the light faded, nothing remained of either ship. Grand Admiral Krevnar and the Keldorian command structure were gone. Without leadership, the remaining enemy vessels fell into disarray. Some fled, some surrendered, and some continued fighting until they too were disabled or destroyed. In the days that followed, representatives from Earth met with the leaders of the Allied species. What had begun as a desperate alliance against a common enemy was becoming something more, the foundation for a new interstellar community based on cooperation rather than conquest. News of the Keldorian defeat spread rapidly throughout the Empire. On world after world, subject species rose up against their oppressors, inspired by the example set at Earth. Without its rigid command structure, and faced with simultaneous rebellions across hundreds of star systems, the once mighty empire began to collapse. 6 months later, on the newly constructed Memorial Plaza in what had once been New York City, Captain Ward stood before a statue depicting the Fearless. Beside him were Commander Martinez, Communications Officer Foster, and Navigation Officer Jones. They had each received promotions and new assignments, but they had gathered today to honor those who had made the ultimate sacrifice. The Fearless was just a ship, Ward said to the assembled crowd. But its name became something more. It became a promise to tyrants everywhere that freedom cannot be conquered. It became a reminder that even the mightiest empire can be brought down when people stand together. Martinez stepped forward to place a wreath at the base of the monument. The plaque bore a simple inscription that had become famous throughout the former Keldorian Empire: "Fearless until it destroys empires." As the Earth continued its recovery and took its place in the new alliance of free worlds, the legend of the Fearless grew. On 100 planets, beings of all species told the story of how a single ship from a supposedly primitive world had united the oppressed and toppled an empire.